But people will always say that the youth of today are different from us. But I think when we think back, when we were young, maybe for me 20 years ago, or maybe 40 years ago, we have that sense of being different. We want to say to our parents, to our teachers, we are different. So I think the young never say it somehow. And I think it's important that we allow that. But at the same time, being respectful in any society, in any community is important. And of course, being ethical, responsible, transparent and responsible. Ladies and gentlemen, in an ideal world, we can have all this. But of course, there are various influences from outside, from inside, and so on. But in a borderless world, where there are constant, as you can see now, constant need for being competitive. Today, if you read the headline of the Star, Malaysia, for instance, has been upgraded to a new level of being competitive. But when you read, or when you read deeper, when you look into it, how one measures? Is it productivity? Is it the end result, the income that we generate, the economic activities that we generate, the various sectors of the economy? But nevertheless, we are always being told, all countries for instance, but in the way that we see things, we have to be, because the world is getting smaller. And if you look at Malaysia, although it's small, it's only 25 million people. And when I went to Jakarta a few days ago, there's 16 million people in Jakarta. So a small country like Malaysia is really small. But being small also means that we have to be competitive all the time. And Malaysia, although small, is among the most active participating in the export sector. I was told we are number 16 or 17, the most trading country in the world. So I think if we go back to what Gardner was saying, it is important to relate the ability to have innovation, the ability to be creative. Because we always link this with the development of human resources. Now, Malaysia, if I can share with some of our overseas guests, we achieved in terms of school leavers entering the universities, it's only about 32% compared to the more developed countries, 55, 60%, some maybe slightly more. So we have a long way to go. But we nevertheless, whatever we do, we still have to take care of those people who have left school before, who are in the workplace. And this is where I believe lifelong learning is also important. The role of ODL institutions like OUM, Wawasan and the others. And of course, if we go back to our education system, how important it is that we must be able to inculcate the values that have been put forward. But at the same time, while we look at the national level, the things that have been said by Gardner, fine lines, is also important in terms of individual institution. Faculty, at the faculty level, at the institution level, at the university level. So ladies and gentlemen, if we look at the development of open and distance learning, which is catering for bigger access of education opportunities to as many people as possible, is where we, like any other ODL institution, play an important role. Now, I believe many of you would have come across the Commonwealth of Learning. We have a very good representative here, Professor Anuwar, who I believe has given a very good keynote address. She's also from COL, and we, most of us in ODL, know Sir John Daniel. He's a propagator of not only open and distance learning at the tertiary level, but also he developed the concept of open schools, where many people or many children of ours, particularly in the developing Commonwealth countries, should have access, should have the ability to be educated. And this is important. If you come from a developed country, United States, Australia, UK, and so on, this is taken for granted. But in many developing countries, perhaps in Malaysia too, in our neighbors in this part of the world, there's still many of the children do not have access to education, even at the primary and secondary level. So I think the concept that has been developed by Sir John Daniel at COL is important. And one of the largest example of this is the National Institute for Open Schooling in India. And all throughout India, this National Institute is giving the opportunity to as many children as possible to be educated at the primary school. And I was made to understand that they have about 600 centers all over the country. Now, as I said earlier, with globalization, with the increasing competition that we face as a country, Malaysia, Southeast Asia, or anywhere, or even the United States, Europe, we have to perhaps relook at the role that we play as an institution, as faculties, as universities, and so on. And we have to really relook at the various practices that we have. But of course, in a big conference like this, I believe the important thing is sharing what we have gone through, what we can learn, particularly from the more developed countries, the practices that they have, the new ways of looking at things, of how to educate people.